I welcome all of you. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today's topic is going to be foundations for healthy fertility. This is what you need to be focusing on to begin to boost your fertility. This needs to be the foundation that everybody has when they're starting on their fertility journey. If you've been on your fertility journey for some time, still listen to these tips and see if you're doing these. Are these things that you're doing on a daily basis? So I first want to start talking about how you need to prepare soil and how fertility is a lot like soil fertility. Human fertility is very similar. When a farmer is preparing his field or her field to grow a crop, they will look at the soil health. They will do an analysis to see what the vitamin and mineral content is, and they will see what they need to add. If anything needs to be removed, they will do that. But they're always looking at the soil before they even plant a seed to make sure that that soil is the healthiest it can be, that that soil is going to have all the nutrients so the plant can grow as large and healthy as it can. So that's what we also need to do when you're starting on your fertility journey or when you're working on your fertility program. You need to make sure that you have your foundations in place, that you have all the foundational things in place. So for human fertility, because it's obviously different than soil fertility, there's a couple different things that we're going to look at. You first want to make sure that you're starting with the cleanest slate that you can. So you want the soil to be as clean as possible. So we start a lot of people off with fertility cleansing. That's actually majority of the people we work with. Most people start, both men and women, with a fertility cleanse. A fertility cleanse is a cleanse that's very specific to reproductive health. It's different than cleanses that you might have heard of. Have you guys heard of cleansing? Is this something that you've done before? So the point with fertility cleansing and how it's different is that it focuses on, one, the uterus, two, it focuses on liver health. So we focus on a lot of different things than a traditional cleanse. A traditional cleanse is going to focus on usually colon health, blood cleansing, and liver health. With cleansing, we focus on the liver, one, because the liver is one of the liver's main responsibilities is to get rid of excess hormones in the system and excess stress hormones. So we want to support the liver in that function. So there's herbs that we use to help liver function so that the liver can do its job. So that's why we focus on the liver for the first part of the cleansing. And the second part of the cleansing is we focus on the uterus. The uterus is essentially going to kind of be our soil in this example. We want to make sure that there's circulation to the uterus, that the uterus is a clean slate, that there's no old blood, there's no stagnation there. So that's why we start with fertility cleansing. It increases circulation to the uterus. It helps support normal hormonal balance, and it also helps if there's anything that needs to be cleansed from the system. That would be the first thing. So as a farmer, looking at the soil, if there needs to be any rocks, any debris taken out of that soil, they would start with cleansing. The next thing that we need to focus on is adding nutrients, minerals, and vitamins to the soil. So that would come in the form of a multivitamin. That's something that is super basic. There was a study done in Harvard that it was part of the nurses study where they take a huge amount of nurses and they all fill out paperwork in depth of their health issues and their current health state. And what they found was that women who were taking a multivitamin ovulated more regularly and also had higher fertility rates than those who were not taking a multivitamin. So something that's super, super simple. I think a whole food multivitamin is the way to go. It's absorbed a lot easier, and a lot of the nutrients are a little bit more recognized by the body. So I personally love our Fertilica Fertile Woman One Daily. It's specifically for women who are trying to get pregnant. There are some nutrients when you're looking into your multi. There are a lot of good multis out there, but food-based, make sure that there's a good amount of folic acid or folate. B12 needs to be there as well, iodine and iron. Those are all deficiencies that can affect ovulation and fertility. So make sure that your multivitamin has those in it. So we've added the nutrients to the soil. We have cleansed the soil. The next thing that we're wanting to do is we now need to start adding nutrients into the soil to help build healthy fertility. So Baby and Me is a good one as well. That's more of a prenatal. You can totally take a prenatal. It's just going to be a couple more capsules. It's about 4 capsules, whereas Fertile Woman One Daily is 1 capsule. So at this time, you don't need to be taking so many tablets, but you can if that's a product that you're already using. It's a great product. That's one we carry for pregnancy. So the next thing that you're going to need to focus on is omega essential fatty acids, specifically omega-3. So it's important to get essential fatty acids into your diet. You can do that through food, or you can do that through supplementation. I would suggest both. essential fatty acids are very important for creating hormones and hormone production. A lot of the women that we work with, there may be an excess of hormones, there may be a deficiency in hormones, but there's always a play of hormonal balance. So if someone's high in estrogen, we want to increase the progesterone, but we need to make sure there's essential and healthy fats in their system so that they can actually build those hormones. If there is not enough estrogen, again, we're going to need the essential fatty acids to build those hormones. So it's important for everybody to take essential fatty acids as part of your foundation. I personally love cod liver oil as my essential fatty acid, but it's really good for preconception care because it's also going to be important that your stores are high enough and ample enough so that when you're pregnant, you can supply these for your baby's growing brain and nervous system. There's so many systems in the growing baby's body that are going to need these essential fatty acids, and they will just suck them out of you. They will just pull them out of you, what they need. So you need to make sure that you have enough beforehand. You want to build up all these stores so that you're a powerhouse and that you're very strong and have all the nutrients you need while you're growing your child. The next is going to be some type of greens powder. So we all know we need to be eating veggies, and we all know that it's super important for minerals. But folate is one of the main reasons I'm always talking about greens. Drinking green juice, eating salads, eating a dark leafy green vegetable. These are all important because of the folate and the fiber. Folate, sometimes known as folic acid, is very important to help prevent spina bifida. It's a common birth defect that is very, very sad, and it can be prevented by making sure you have enough folate in your body. And so the way to get that is through greens or supplementation. Your multivitamin will have it, but greens are a very rich source. The next reason greens are important besides minerals is going to be fiber. Fiber is something that the body uses to get rid of excess hormones. So if you're estrogen dominant, if you happen to be going through something that's like endometriosis, PCOS, fibroids, anything that might be estrogen dominant, make sure you're eating enough fiber because that's part of how your body is going to excrete and get rid of the excess estrogens. So that's why greens are so important. So I suggest a greens powder. Make sure to get greens throughout your day, but if you're taking a greens powder, it's kind of like your insurance. You can just mix it with juice or water. We have one that's called Fertility Greens. It's yummy, and it just mixes with juice really well. I take it every day. I mix it with water and drink it down. Super, super easy. So that's kind of like an insurance. And then the last would be to focus on eating a healthy fertility diet because we're looking at the soil, we're making sure that the soil is getting all the nutrients that it needs, and what you're eating is going to be the most important. And it's the thing that you have the most power over, that you have the most impact over, is the food that you put into your body. So think about it. So today, I know someone's watching this during their lunch hour. What you're eating today is going to impact the egg that you will ovulate 3 months from now. So everything we're doing right now, everything we're exposing ourselves to that's good and healthy, that's negative, impacts the egg 90 days from now. It's the same for sperm as well. What you're doing today impacts the health of your sperm 90 days from now. So with that information, the foods that you're eating, the water you're drinking, making sure that you're getting making sure that your blood sugar levels are staying balanced and that there's a good ratio between protein and carbohydrates. That's really important. So that's one of the reasons that I suggest as part of a foundational program, a protein powder. There's a lot to choose from. There's whey, there's hemp, there's rice, there's pea. I don't suggest pea protein powder while you're trying to conceive because it kind of can act like soy. There's soy protein powder, would not suggest that one either. So that's something to think about depending on your diet. Are you getting enough protein? Are you eating protein with each meal? That's important for keeping your blood sugar levels balanced. Without getting too complicated, the reason that that is really important for fertility is when your blood sugar spikes, that says to the body that it is in fight or flight, that there's a stressful event happening. And then your stress hormones spike, and then your liver begins to focus on that and stops getting rid of and metabolizing excess hormones from your system. Your circulatory system also stops flowing to the reproductive system and goes out to your limbs so you can run away from that lion or tiger. So a lot happens when you go through stress. And having fluctuating blood sugar levels, which happens throughout the day, just because of what you're eating, causes that to happen. So that's one of the reasons that I think it's really important to eat protein with every meal, to keep everything balanced, and to eat that fiber that also helps to keep the blood sugar balanced. So I'll just do a quick recap for the foundations for healthy fertility, and then I'll get to all of your questions. We're going to prepare the soil by first cleansing. Then we're going to add a multivitamin, an essential fatty acid, a greens powder, a protein powder, and above all that, a healthy fertility diet. I'll go much more into eating a fertility diet here in future scopes, but I wanted to make sure that you understood the foundations for healthy fertility, regardless of your fertility status, your situation, what you're going through, if you're preparing for IVF, if you just want to be healthy before pregnancy, or if you do have a fertility issue that you're trying to overcome. This is for everybody. This is the foundation that any herbs or additional supplements would be added onto. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you found that class very helpful. Do something wonderful for yourself today. All right? I'll talk to you soon. Bye.